Uh, I am Cosmin Curticapean, and I will chair this panel. I'm glad to see an exquisite audience this morning in this forum. For those who don't know me, I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm a fintech founder. I'm the CEO of iFactor. iFactor is a semantic embedded SME lending platform. Why semantic? It's because we did some adaptive transformers in AI before generative AI was actually in place. I'm also an investor in startups. I'm vice president of the of Tech Angels, which is the largest business angel association in Central Eastern Europe, based in Bucharest. And I'm also a fintech speaker, and I'm a traditional financial services challenger and sometimes a troublemaker. So thank you very much for coming. I will start by saying that Darwin said that not the smartest or the strongest people will survive, but the ones who can adapt faster to the new environments. So preparing for tomorrow will give me the option to discuss and debate with my guests these topics of the 3 A's, basically the anticipation, adaptation, and agility in adapting emerging technologies in financial services. So I would like to introduce my panel, and I would like my guests to introduce themselves.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here and happy that we have that kind of events. I'm Ana Maria Georgescu. I'm a co-founder of Smart Fintech. Smart Fintech is an open banking provider company, so I'm the fintech. And also I'm board member of the Romanian Fintech Association. That is also a very important working group that we have here in Romania.
Hello everyone. I'm honored to be part of this panel and of this event. My name is Răzvan Popescu. I'm coming after about 16 years of consulting experience, leading intelligent automation teams, innovation consulting practices. And for about the last 2 years, I've been working with several startups and fintechs, mainly in the local market. Happy to share my knowledge in the next part of the session.
Morning, everyone. My name is Esther Botica. I've been working for the European Banking Authority for the last 10 years, especially the last 3 on the digital finance unit on topics as DORA, operational resilience and innovation. And I'm really glad to be here with you today. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Bogdan Stase. I'm here on behalf of Transfond, and for the people that are attending today and are not aware about Transfond, Transfond is the Romanian clearing house, and we are providing the infrastructure for low-value payments.
Just to be aware of the audience, can you please raise your hands, because I would like this panel to be a bit more interactive, and in fact, because I'm used with the technology conferences where these panels are becoming a bit more agile, I would like to apologize to my guests if I will jump from one topic to another, so that we are conscious on time. So I would like to ask the audience, how many people are from fintech today? Can you raise your hands? Okay, and what about from the regulator? Banks? Thank you very much. So basically we have kind of a 33% of a third of everybody. Okay. Basically, I would like to ask you guys, what do you think is the next big thing or not in financial services? Of course, with regards of technology, emerging technologies involving financial services. Esther?
In terms of technology, I think we have seen in the last year that digital transformation is changing constantly. So which are the next things, at least as a regulator, that we have in the table? I think artificial intelligence, which was recently published some months ago and is going to be implemented in the next years. In terms of operational resilience, that this is my core topic, and it's a kind of big change in terms of the relationship that regulators have with the third-party providers. And MiCA, I would say that these are the three areas that they are changing rapidly, and we see as regulators that could change the way we treat financial services in general. So that would be the three of them. Thank you.
This is a very interesting question because I think there are multiple forces that are shaping the financial industry as of today. This strong digitalization that already started, doubled by this strong pace of technological advancement, and also different technologies that are maybe that those technologies was not initiated by the financial needs, let's say, but definitely those will shape the financial landscape. If we are talking about artificial intelligence or blockchain or digital currencies, for example, so I think it will be a mix of elements that will change the financial landscape, but we will need to see, so I don't think it will be one single disrupting element. It will be a mix of it, but we will need to see exactly how we will do all those steps in terms of preserving the financial stability.
I think everyone talked about collaboration, and in principle, I think we were all referring to one-to-one collaboration. Me as a bank with various fintech companies, me as a regulator, me as a fintech. In principle, the collaboration should be at the ecosystem level. When we will reach that point, definitely we will start innovating, and the way how I see it in maybe next 10 years, for sure we will have a large global economy adopting a digital currency, and definitely this will put a lot of pressure on everyone else and will bring some benefits and also some risks into the market. Definitely we will see more and more financial services consolidated in a super app, so I'm happy to see that BCR is already building George, that it's providing more than traditional banking services into it, but we will handle more or less everything that we are dealing from a single app. And for sure, because there was a debate around the payments and car payments, I don't see our kids using the plastic card anymore in the future.
Referring to core business of Transfond, okay, because we are discussing a lot and we are working a lot with the banks. I think the next step in terms of developments, at least in Romania, will be account tokenization, so how to tokenize an account. Even so, in the blockchain, there are a lot of discussions and there are a lot of banks, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, that are working in terms of collateral tokenization. Yeah, so it's a fact. In our project, and I hope that I will share with you some information, we are discussing about how to tokenize your account and use it. Thank you.
Okay, now it's very interesting that that you mentioned it, but I would like now to ask you if you could actually briefly share your opinion on how and why anticipation, adaptation, and agility actually are important in navigating the uncertainties of the financial services sector. Now, I'm actually asking this question with regards of how adaptable and how agile the regulators are banks. And of course, I would like to come back to this comparison with the agility of fintechs, because in the previous panel there was a topic of how fintechs are able to develop applications and how banks actually benefit of trust from the customers. But with these new things to come, do you think this trust might be actually conquered through technology or not? So the question is in how adaptable the regulators and banks are.
And just saying that this would be my personal opinion. I think regulators, we are not well known for being the first one in adapting, but I see for the last year that this is been changing. I see the collaboration that is happening between the fintechs, between the competent authorities and the regulator, and also with the Commission, is being quite well known. Even if we see the latest regulation on operational resilience, we are the front runners. If we look at the whole world, it's been just the United States, the one that they have tried one of the similar regulation in order to oversee which are the big techs providing financial services. We have the UK coming behind us. So I think this is a bit changing. Of course, it takes time. We cannot say that regulation, it can be done quickly because, of course, it needs a compromise and it needs a dialogue between all the stakeholders. But I see a good improvement.
From my perspective, and again, it's my personal perspective, the role of the regulator should be as a facilitator. If I was mentioning earlier about the collaboration across the ecosystem, the regulator should be the one facilitating this. In terms of innovation, definitely the regulator should be more, or should create more flexible regulation, more future-thinking ones. But we shouldn't expect them to become innovators. What exactly should they innovate?
You're asking me?
I'm asking the panel.
Okay, so let's play this game because it's quite interesting. I think that the regulators of today could also benefit of the innovation and the use of innovation in order to use them to better understand how actually that financial intermediation could be achieved. And by doing so, as well as other, large corporations like big tech, or maybe even like smaller ones like fintechs, are actually looking into methodologies of identifying how to adapt, how to identify opportunities. I think the mentality could be changed, and we should see, from the regulator's perspective, also some ways of innovation. Why do we always think that only startups and small companies should innovate? Why always, when we are looking to, grants, for example, we are seeing in the research and development all the time they are oriented towards, companies who are at a very low level, or when they actually address larger companies to build and develop laboratories of research and development, they are always very abstract, and traditionally they only return to industries. So these are facts where actually I think that governments, regulators, all kind of authorities traditionally fail, and that's why I'm actually raising this question, is because at least in this panel, and the fact that we have also Esther here, and we have you as an advisor for fintechs, we have Anna that is actually founded the fintech, we have Transfond. I think it's the right place to actually debate this. So that's my opinion now as a contributor to the panel. But I would like to hear also the other panelists' opinion on this, and specifically with all of a sudden, in terms of why regulators should be actually adopting innovation or be innovators.
I think first step would be a mindset one, in which the regulators accept innovation and as a strategic movement, and then it starts a journey to discover, okay, what innovation means, where to start, to anticipate the right step forward, and because sometimes innovation means playground, and I think the regulators has to keep a stable part. Okay, we need to innovate, but we also need to assure a stability, so we can play, but in certain limits. So I think some rules has to be in place, but with keeping in mind that, okay, innovation is a strategic policy, and then make the first steps either with a skilled person or specialized person that truly understand that industry and the subject of that innovation, because you cannot change something that you don't understand completely to the smallest details. Either are technical details. If open banking, for example, it would have started with a technical background, a strong technical background when it was issued, maybe some of the current obstacles wouldn't be present, for example.
Bogdan, do you think innovation and stability could be achieved at the same time?
What kind of stability?
Oh, well, Anna was talking about the way the regulators are the guardians of the stability.
Yeah, I want to share with you our recent experience building something from the scratch, a new system, okay, in terms of infrastructure that will be delivered to the banks, to the payment service providers, and then they will deliver to the market, to the merchants and to individuals. So we have worked closely with the National Bank of Romania, with Romanian Banking Association. In terms of stability, we had this guidance, and they have learned a lot of things about the new product. We have learned a lot of things from in terms of constraints and regulations, because nobody knows everything. So we had a direct connection with the institutions, okay? Dorian mentioned in the previous panel about partnerships, synergies, and something like that. So in my mind, sounds like our collaboration with our friends from NBR and from ARB and from banks. So in terms of innovation, creativity, stability, regulation, we have a scheme, okay, which is something that will impose some rights and obligations to the participants, to the ecosystem. So you cannot have a regulation staying in a crystal, having a crystal ball and sitting there at the 20th floor and trying to deliver something to the market, and the market is not aware, and they are in other places, and then waiting the results. And so staying close and working together day by day, you can have stability, you have innovation, and you have something that it's reliable in terms of value proposition, in terms of return, economical figures and results. Otherwise, we are talking about innovation just for the sake of innovation, or we are just talking about technology just for the sake of technology. But it's very important to have a look at the use cases, at what kind of problem do you want to solve in the market, and then to try to find out the technology, and then to see what the regulators are saying. If there is a gap between what you want to do and what they have already done, you have to bridge the gap and to ask their help. But every time you have to explain, to discuss and to build.
Thank you very much. Speaking of crystal balls, Esther, what are the methodologies? I mean, this can be also a personal opinion, okay? Not necessarily EBA. What what are the methodologies that EBA or regulators do you think are setting in place, or individuals actually working for these heavy institutions? What are the methodologies in order to identify trends, the new trends?
As EBA, first of thing is to say that we have a mandate to monitor innovation. And to monitor innovation, it means to assess what are the financial innovations right now, and also to gather this innovation and to understand together with supervisors what would be the best regulation in order to be addressed with this innovation. And on that, we created a forum, the Innovation Forum, the facilitators, in 2019. It's been currently going for the last 4 or 5 years, where this is this EFIP, the European Forum for Innovation Facilitators. It's been done as a joint exercise together with the Commission, with all the competent authorities are represented. And the way it works is that we invite innovators, facilitators, to present these business cases. So for us, this is the best way to channel. And I would say that some of the work that they've been doing is, for example, the machine learning or DLT cases, how they are using financial innovators, big techs, what are these big techs doing in financial innovator, and how we channel this information. I would say that there are 3 specific cases. First one, it would be to a direct invite, because we are in contact, like places like here, conference, workshops, and we invite innovators to present their business cases. The second one would be more through the competent authorities, where we provide some leaflets, or they are going to do some specific questions that they do to the industry, and they are the ones that they are more in close contact with the industry. And I would say that the third one is through our knowledge. I mean, it's not, we try to dedicate also sometimes in order to understand how the market is developed. And that's the only way that we can do as regulators.
So why not some laboratories? Building in engineering, and especially in innovation, you need to go from scratch, boiling down to scratch everything, and then reason up from there, instead of instead of actually augmenting and adapting to existing philosophies. So traditionally, all the largest technology successes in the world at current date are going from this philosophy. Why not regulators should adopt or shall adopt this instead of only debating and talking at workshops? Why not hiring experts, building up some laboratories, trying to identify the next trends and to be real front runners, not only conceptual?
How we do this, it would be through sandboxes, innovation hub, and this is built through our competent authorities that they are already established. I mean, this represented, every competent authority that has a sandbox is represented at EFIF. We cannot fund itself a sandbox because it's not under our mandate, but this is something that you can channel through competent authorities. I would say that it's just the limitation that we have in terms of staff, resources. Just to make it clear and to give you a bit of perspective, this innovation, there are no more than 2 FTEs dedicated to that, and the whole EBA on the financial services. So you can see how much we can achieve with that. But it's just in financial services, I think through the European Commission, of course, there are other initiatives that they are being done.
I don't want to interpret that I'm somehow taking side of the regulator. In my consulting experience, we also try to start becoming more innovative. And the reality is that the technology always outpaces any efforts that we have made. And in principle, it should be more or less the same case with any particular entity. The view that I have, and in principle, I believe it's shared by all of us, the regulator definitely should build these sandboxes, definitely should organize hackathons with all the actors in the market, but the purpose around innovation should be on testing scenarios, on checking the limits that are pushed by fintechs, because let's recognize it, fintechs are pushing the regulation boundaries, which is great. Definitely we cannot progress without this. But let's leave the innovation with the startups. You asked about this. Unfortunately, this is a curse and a huge advantage for the startups. It's difficult for a bank to take, I don't know, blunt decisions and to change or to pivot, I don't know, at the end of the year and to focus on something else. For a startup, this is common sense. So agility, adaptability, innovation basically are critical strategies for a startup to navigate through this complex financial services market, and also it's a mean to survive. Without this, we'll die, we'll reach the end of the financing round.
So open banking was issued firstly in Europe and was driven by regulators, and that was the fire starter. And after that, we have seen open banking being adopted in Middle East, in Australia, in South America. So that was the innovation the innovation wind that was fire started by regulators at the end. Even if the technology was in place before the PSD2, I mean the technology was there, but the change in the industry was driven by regulators.
Talking about fire starting and having in mind that technology is a double-edged sword, we all know that it brings benefits but also lots of risks. I would like to have your opinion on this large debate, but that's also again a personal opinion and not necessarily an official opinion, right? On the AI Act. Because there is a lot of debate and of course it's also again a situation of large quantities of interpretation on how many benefits this regulation will bring, how much will obstruct innovation, where actually will break down into financial services and so on and so forth. So I would like to have 2 or 3 thoughts of any of you, or all of you actually, into this topic.
So I think artificial intelligence activities, they are already embedded in all the financial services, especially for credit institutions, where we can see is that this is something that they are using a lot. Then in terms of risks, I see that there is a bit of an unknown side on the artificial intelligence, and there could be a risk for customers. For example, if we think in the way that the mortgage is provided, if this is done by a machine, who has run this machine? What is behind? These are kind of activities that they are ranked as high risk. So I think it will be really, really useful in terms of not only financial services, the way we work, but we need to be conscious about the risks. I think in the previous panel, we were discussing about mobile phones, how the mobile phones, they have helped financial industry, and we all have access through our telephone to bank. I mean, it's been maybe 3-4 years I've never been into a bank, into a physical bank. I do everything through my mobile phone. But there are also some risks that we need to take into account. I mean, this is not something that I would like to provide to my kids directly because I don't know what's behind. So we need to be careful and we need to understand what are the risks behind that.
I think in order to regulate AI, and you said the AI Act is one of the toughest things to do in terms of regulation. We are already seeing AI at work. I mean, we are building right now an AI module that will handle smart analysis for open banking transaction, for example. And there are similar and multiple use cases on the market in which we are already seeing AI. But I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. We are not seeing the truly potential of AI yet. We are more in the large data models in which we are using AI to digest big data, to generate predictions, I mean, to use that huge capability to analyze data. I think the space of hallucinating is still unknown territory, and I'm not sure how this space will shape the financials, because for me it seems an unknown territory at this moment. So it's a journey, and of course I think that AI will also be very much influenced by the quantum computing that will come with huge potential in terms of processing power. We already know that playing with AI means big resources, and when we are talking about personal hardware or on-prem hardware, it's very difficult to sustain those AI exercises. So I think this is combined. The development of AI will be closely influenced by the development of power processing.
I believe it's a good initiative, and definitely it was a need to address the ethical and the social impact challenges that artificial intelligence is supposed to have on our societies. But thinking at the moment in terms of advancements in Europe compared to China, America, definitely it will be like a huge rock hanged on the back of the AI startups in Europe. So definitely it's a need for something like this, but will reduce the evolution pace that we were supposed to have in order to catch up the other big forces at the global level.
Well, the big debate about the way the text of AI Act was released and approved by the European Commission, it's in fact that in Europe a lot of the startups will actually die, a lot of AI startups, and still the very large big tech companies will evolve into deploying models that maybe will even go forward and will actually even challenge some of the regulations that are now in this text of law. So that was actually one of the things that I was trying to bring out. But now, speaking of this quantum computing, new technologies, talking about regulations, how will the money look like in 2030 with MiCA, with PSD3, with open finance, with all the regulations in place, and combined with whatever trends we can probably identify now, with the consideration that probably 90% we don't know that we don't know.
I think I would definitely look different to what it looks now. If we are already in a digitalized world, I think it will look even more digitalized. And this is something that as Anna was mentioning, I think the quantum will help in order to make transactions faster. I think there are other cases like it happened, like Facebook was trying to use their own money. It seems that this trend, it seems a bit lower. So I would say that MiCA will help that this world of this new 2030 money will look different, but still safer.
I'm starting a discussion from the problem. What was the problem today with the money? Maybe inflation, I don't know. Maybe you are losing money constantly. So what are the topics are to be discussed around this speed? We have speed, security. There are payment service providers. They are obliged to respect some rules, yeah, like strong customer authentication and so on and so forth. So, what would be other aspects to be discussed? Competitors, new players in this playing field.
I like, Bogdan, that you have this mindset of an entrepreneur. Basically, you're taking everything from the problem, from scratch,
yeah.
which is great. But let's say then, Anna, you're in open banking. How will the money look like? Take into consideration maybe to also foresee what actually the problems will be in 2030 to be solved, and in terms of not necessarily how we think now in that matrix of we need instant payments, we need also with actually trying to identify what the need, how the needs will evolve to that standpoint.
I think we are all in a relationship with our money. I think that within 5 years, the money as a concept or how we understand the money will not change. I mean, we will still have money. I think what will change, and is already started to change, is the entire ecosystem around the money, how we will keep the money, what kind of vaults we will use, how we will touch our money. And touch is, I use this word because touching the money is a key question, how you touch the money today, right? So I think the money will remain the same, but everything else around our money will change, how they are used, how they are spent, how they are monitored, how they are invested, and that has also an important financial education side that we are building. I mean, in Romania, we are building financial education as we speak, so I think we will see new patterns for using money.
I'd like to ask you, what are the strategies that you're recommending now, fintechs in the payment services, and not only, in general in financial services, to adopt in order to stay agile and to really be able to identify the new trends and to actually adopt them?
Yeah, this is not necessarily a straight answer because it highly depends on the business they are in, the product, the focus customer, the market, and so on. But I will try to simplify it and provide 4 strategies that I'm usually talking with startups. The first one is to keep the customer as close as possible at their core business. In principle, I believe this is the biggest asset they have, and this allows them to improve the product, to spin off it will be the case, so they need to collect feedback from customers as much as possible. The second one is to have a fast data-driven decision-making approach, especially if they are building a digital product. They can use data analytics, AI to derive insights and to take decisions as fast as possible. They don't have time, they don't have money to wait as compared with other actors in this field. The third one, and this, I believe it's one of the key words in this event, is to start building strategic partnerships as early as possible with large banks, to get in touch with regulators, even with public authorities, even though we know in Romania it's not necessarily a very easy counterpart to deal with.
How is the EBA helping financial institutions to adapt to new regulations that arise from technological advancements?
So I would like to focus here in one example that is happened on DORA, the Digital Operational Resilience Act. So you know that under this financial institutions will have a new task. And that means that they need to have registers of all the contracts with all their ICT providers. So once entering into the regulation, these registers, they need to be available for competent authorities, and they have three reasons to have this register. First, it would be to manage the ICT risks that they have with third-party providers. The other one would be for the supervision. And the third one, it would be to identify which are the critical third-party providers. So we understand that this is a difficult task. So how we support our financial entities and competent authorities now that they're going to be a new reporting, that we understand that is a burden for the stakeholders, is trying to do some exercise that we did in 2022. We did a sample on the joint exercise that I was leading, and we were already showing them what are the type of templates that they need to report. Same as we are doing this year on a dry run exercise with all, this time is not just a sample, all the financial entities and competent authorities have been invited to participate, and this will be in place on 2025. So just to make them, or to make everyone understand that we try to support all our stakeholders and make as smooth as possible the transition to new regulations. Of course, there will be always challenges, there will be questions. These are tools that we have in place, as it could be the Q&A tool that we have, the three ISAs, the ESMA, EIOPA, and the EBA on our webpage. But this is something that we have as core when we do the implementation, is to help our stakeholders.
I would like to see if there are any questions for the panel from the room. So we have Mr. Claudio Negra here in the front with a very important question.
Thank you for this interesting panel and for interesting speech. I have a very tough question for you. You are from market, from fintechs, from authorities, and you have a question, what do you see the money in 2030? And I have a question hard for you. Where do you see the central banks in this ecosystem in 2030? Is the same role as now, or you see as a role as a catalyst or a role only on overseeing this market? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So who wants to start? Let's take it from the right, and we will all answer, and then with this, we will see if we have time for another question. Otherwise, we will take everything in the other room.
Yes, every time you need a regulator, so otherwise it will be a chaos. I mean, something is needed to supervise everything, so the central banks should be there. Okay.
From my perspective, I think, as it was mentioned before, financial stability is key, and it's not only because this is something that we are all using, it's because people, they trust. They trust on our financial entities, and they trust on the competent authorities that they are supervising and they are regulated. So therefore, I see no many changes on that aspect. I see maybe closer relationship, and they are trying to evolve and to adapt, and we are trying to innovate, and I think this is clear an example where they are trying to improve and be better and be closer to the financial entities, but definitely they will be there.
I will also answer to this question. So I think that the answer to this question will involve a lot of context depending on how the political environment will look like. But as I would like to see it is that, of course, regulators should be still the ones that are the watchdogs of the financial services, because indeed they are the trust providers. But I always like to make this comparison with the aviation, because in aviation it's also an industry which is very highly regulated, and still, if you're now flying a jet or a plane, and the pilot would tell you, look, our autopilot is broken, I will have to land manually. There were some studies performed, and actually, you know, passengers, they get anxiety out of that thought that the machine is not there any longer to control a little bit. So I think that, in my opinion, regulators should adopt technology. I think that through technology, and I mentioned previously that technology, and I'm also a strong believer that it's unfortunately a double-edged sword. It also brings a lot of risks, but still with a reasonable use and with the right mentality and culture, I think it could be, and it shall be, bringing a lot of value to the way financial services will develop. It will bring a lot of value in how money will actually perform. If you're just thinking to, I don't know, KYC processes, which are today a large burden for almost any financial institution that it's performing services, probably money will have embedded in them a way of actually performing the KYC against the individual or the entity that they should actually land in the pocket of. So I think that if we think this way, and if we really provoke ourselves into and challenge our way of actually performing payments and delivering value, I think technology will shift a lot, and I think that a lot of the ways today regulators are performing their activities will be made abstract. So that's why I think that in preparing for tomorrow, the topic of this panel, it's very important that also mentality and culture in terms of in the political factors, and then in the certain other levels like regulators and other authorities they need to shift towards technology. It doesn't matter how we feel about it. And of course, no technology is ever green. So, like Razvan said, you know, so things will evolve. So that's my question, my answer. Please.
What I will add, and maybe it has been mentioned already in the previous panel, it will be very important to see a higher integration and higher alignment across all EU states to make sure, at least for a startup, whenever it's starting to the expansion plans, it shouldn't start tweaking the product in order to fit in each particular market. This is one. And second, my strong belief is that the regulator should become an active facilitator between all the actors involved in the field. I know that NBR has made significant progress with various programs. I've participated to some open discussions, and I was surprised to see the openness and also the open-minded from the people sitting on the other side of the table.
And also the level of expertise in technology. It's also applaudable.
Definitely, in order to have proper conversations, we need to start having the same terminology. And maybe one aspect in terms of fintech, trying to understand all the regulators, all the regulations, sorry, definitely you need to be an expert. And usually the founder is the one going through hundreds of pages and trying to understand exactly what are the implications and risks. Maybe in this field as well might be a room for improvement to start formulating the regulation in a more, I don't know, normal language.
I think the guardian and the mediator, facilitator role of regulators should be maintained, because it has to be it has to exist that kind of angle in which the market is analyzed. I don't think we have the capacity yet to function without a centralized view. I mean, also decentralized finance, for example. I don't see it happening very soon because we are not prepared for that. So I believe in 2030 we need to keep what we have now. What the regulator has and is very important is the trust. That is a value that has to be maintained. When you are saying, for example, National Bank of Romania, that is a heavy statement, and it helps to build trust on whatever you deliver that was supervised by National Bank. So I think that is important, but also to have in mind that collaborative approach in which we can have open discussions or work groups or whatever we will put in place in order to build some practical analysis of what is changed, what is supervised, depending on the field, for example. And I'm saying that because in open banking, the details are the ones that are important. Thank you.
Actually, I kind of disagree with the fact that you are saying that decentralized will not happen soon. I think that kind of concept was taken also by Kodak when they actually invented digital. They had the patent of digital photography, and then Instagram just and they were keeping it on the shelf, and then Instagram just put it to fly. And it was the same with Motorola thinking about smartphones, and then immediately when iPhone was on the market, then the market adopted this new type of technology immediately. I think decentralization has a lot of sense in the world. Also in the previous panel we heard about it. But I think yes, still it's funny actually because it's controversial. It's the regulators, I think, should have a role in the decentralization. That's one of the things to succeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining me into this panel. And I invite you now in the other room for a coffee break. Thank you.